And one of the youth leaders, someone I'd looked up to for years, literally since like as long as I can remember, as he's walking out the room, or where we were, he goes, "Oh, gay, bi, trans, none of it's real."
Just like that.
None of it's real.
Then,
and we were like, here we are, like young people, right? Impressionable young people. I was 17 at the time, but some would have been younger than that. And obviously your teenage years are a tough time anyway, right? Then on top of that whole thing of sexuality, it was a really good in-depth conversation. We were really getting somewhere. I'm pretty sure there were some people there who had a bit like different views to me, but we were actually talking and like we were discussing, you know? Then for the youth leader, who's meant to help facilitate these kinds of conversations and this time in your life, they're literally a youth leader, completely dismisses the LGBT community. I actually genuinely think, because I was questioning those things when I was 17, it then took a whole year before I even started speaking to anyone about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Renaissance Podcast. I'm here today with Jess, who is a actor, filmmaker, and also...
And also just an all-around, also the first female guest
I'm sorry.
on this show.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, that was really good.
Yeah.
I meant like, it's a lot of pressure. Is it? No, it's not.
You're the first female guest, but also me and you never really had a one-to-one conversation.
Not really.
Instagram doesn't really count.
Instagram doesn't count, and the course advocacy meetings.
We never really spoke. We never even looked at each other.
Not really, but I was always like, he's cool, got cool fashion.
Oh, thanks.
And your short
Likewise.
film, I do actually really love your work.
Oh, you're making me blush. So,
yeah.
Yeah. No, you were going to say something. You have to say it.
No, I was going to say, I'm the guest, you should be complimenting my work.
Yeah, I mean,
Joking.
I mean, you do make good stuff. And of course,
Shit.
I never really saw you act properly. So I can't really say.
Yeah, I mean, I've not in a while. That was like more, like before I started uni, I did loads of theatre.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, since I started, there's not really much. And now, the past year as well, there's not. Like, I was going to join, like, the Royal and Dungate, like, theatre group, but then...
You just didn't do it.
I was going to do that, literally, like, end of first year, but we were actually all quarantining, so...
So I was going to ask you an interesting question, but I just want to... We haven't really established what we're going to talk about here. Talk about sexuality, Christianity, and of course Islam, because you grew up as a Christian, and I grew up as a Muslim. So there's obviously like a bit of similarities and obviously differences between the two.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, and also talk about a bit about, you know, your work and career and whatnot. So you mentioned like you used to be an actor. Well, you're still an actor right now, actress. How come you transitioned from acting to filmmaking? Because I know, just to clarify, she's in my degree, but she's in the year below me, so that's how we knew each other.
Yeah. So yeah, I for like years, I guess, at school, like just doing theatre pretty much, which I loved, still do. It's actually weird. It's a year today since I did the final night of like the last show I was in. We did Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird that we're filming this today. And then I don't know what it was. So I did a gap year after A-levels. Because I was like, I don't actually know what I want to do. Like, some of my theatre friends were going off, like, auditioning for drama school. Other friends were going off to uni. And I was like, because I enjoy so much, I was like, I don't know. You know, I'm so indecisive.
That's a good thing, though, because you have different paths to go through.
Yeah, I guess so.
Plus, you're young as well, so you can just do all of them if you want.
And so in my gap year, I just kind of worked at Screwfix for a year, pretty much full time. And I used that time to kind of decide what I wanted to do, which is good, earn a bit of money. And then I realized I was like filmmaking. Like, I don't know. I actually don't know what, like, you know, some people have, this is when I knew. I don't really know what, something in me, I was like, that's because it's new. Because also part of me didn't want to do like a drama degree or like just a theatre kind of, for some reason, the thought of going to drama school, being told how to act, I was like, that doesn't sound like it's for me. So I was like, maybe acting isn't for me. Do you know what I mean? But filmmaking, I was like, that's so different, but still something I'm passionate about. And like, I've done stupid little videos like here and there throughout the years with my friends I've just never like posted.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel like that's always how it starts. And and I didn't want to do a drama degree because I was like, it looks really similar to like A-level drama. Like, I was like, no, I want to do something different that's still like linked. So many of the like, I don't want to say transferable skills, sounds like I'm like writing a CV, but like, you know, you still have to think about like things like lighting and story. It's the same like world, do you know what I mean? Like media and the arts, I guess.
They all just link together, basically. So it makes complete sense.
Yeah, and then I remember when I was Googling like filmmaking uni course, all of them were like just filmmaking. Nothing looked quite, I was like, I want something a bit more broad. And when I saw the name of our course, how like it was film, TV, and
digital media
creative,
production.
I was like, that looks like what I want to do. And I'm so that like, it's definitely like the right choice because I'm enjoying it so much. So this, yeah, it was a bit random, but also like, I'm glad that I've chose it because it does feel new. So yeah, that's pretty much how.
So, but with filmmaking, though, it's very broad. You could be a director, producer, vision mixer. You could be so many ways to go.
Yeah.
Is there a set in stone like path you want to try to go? So directing, do you want to write, produce, or do you want to do hybrid between?
I think directing is at the minute what appeals to me the most and what I enjoy doing the most. And I kind of had a big experience directing like theatre before. And even so far in our course, I've directed quite a few things. And yeah, I really enjoy it. So I guess directing. Yeah, it's a bit weird to think about. You know, people are like, what do you want to do after you cool? I'm like, I don't really know.
It's very scary.
Like, I want to just do cool stuff. And I'd love to be a music video director, to be honest. Like, but like not just like successful, do like, because I love music as well. That was also another career path that I was like, I just want to be a singer in a band. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to be a singer in a band and tour the world. That's it.
That is really cool to be fair.
I'd love to like direct the music videos of my own music.
So you're more creative control.
Like
it's your vision.
Charles Gambino, like
Donald Glover,
I look up to. I saw him in London.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, I guess anything creative really.
Aside from obviously the industry part of things, obviously you grew up as a Christian, and what was that experience like? You could say both the positive and the negative. I'm
not gonna lie, like actually overall, pretty positive. Like I feel really grateful and lucky that I have like the family I have, like close family, my mum and dad and stuff, because they really, for me when I think about my parents, I'm like, that's the kind of Christian I want to be, or like that to me, I'm like, that's what a Christian should be like and should represent. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, being Christian is following the teachings of Jesus Christ. That is like when you boil it down. And for me, like, I think my parents, like, I really admire my parents, and I'm so grateful for that. But it was a bit weird. Like, we grew up in Morocco as my parents we were supported by a Christian missionary organization, and obviously missionaryism has kind of bad connotations now, and rightly so. Like, and you know, I learned about the British Empire in A level. And it's just, you know, the whole section of that was like Christian missionaries who were basically just doing absolutely awful things, terrible things. I was like, that's mad, because obviously that wasn't my experience. And it's also, you know, for the missionary to be like, that wasn't my experience. Obviously, but it's, and it's not like I genuinely don't view it as like, oh, yeah, my parents were trying to convert everyone in Morocco. Because that's genuine. Like, my dad was an English language teacher. My mum was looking after me. That was it. And yeah, we went to the international church. In Fez, and that was a fun experience. Like that was it was interesting because you know Morocco is a Muslim country, and it's illegal if you're born into a Moroccan Muslim family in Morocco and you want to convert to Christianity, atheism, even just, you know, didn't just be like, I don't want to be Muslim anymore. It's actually illegal. You can get arrested, you can get your family will, do you know what I mean? It's
bad.
It's actually really weird growing up in another country where Christianity isn't the dominant religion. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like living in the UK, we're also used to the fact that, like, you know, people still kind of think Britain's a Christian country. Not really. Or like, you know, it's the dominant religion here. And obviously, like, if you're Muslim here, you're more likely to be discriminated against for being Muslim. And it's a bit weird that in Morocco, there is the thing of, like, people kind of, if you're foreign, people are like, oh, foreigner line. People are kind of, like, interested. But at the same time, in 2010, it was a crazy year. Like, loads of our friends were just getting kicked out of the country just for being Christian. So the Moroccan government would have this blacklist of known Christians.
That's a thing?
Yep. So known like evangelists, really. You know, people who like actually make it known and are trying to tell people about Jesus and stuff. They had a list, and the Moroccan government could kick people out whenever they wanted to. So like my best friend's parents were like getting kicked out, and they'd have like 8 hours to leave the country. And it's weird, isn't it? Because like I said, in the UK, people are used to Christianity. You know, no one's going to be impressed in the UK for being a Christian.
Yeah.
But it's weird that, so we didn't get kicked out. We left before, we wanted to leave on our own terms.
Yeah.
And it was just this air of kind of like, it doesn't feel safe anymore. It's a bit strange. So yeah, it's been growing up in a Christian household, like in terms of like close, like my immediate family and stuff, it's actually been a really good experience. I think my parents have really taught me good morals and stuff. Not that you can't be moral if you're not a Christian. Yeah. But like, yeah. And then actually moving to the UK when I was 10, like living here the past 10 years it's been different. It's been a bit of a mixed bag. Like I'd say it was actually pretty positive in Morocco, because I'm not gonna lie, because I went to an international school as well. Half my friends were Christian foreigners like me from all over the world, like Colombia, Mexico, South Africa, and then half were like rich Moroccan kids who were Muslim. And there were a couple of times in the playground where we'd have little tiffs about religion. Like it'd be like the Muslims versus the Christians. Oh, yeah. And we'd have like debates and be like, actually, da-da-da. And I always try and be like, guys, but like we're all like Abrahamic, like it's the Abrahamic religions, like we've got to stick together. Yeah. But it was never really like we all got along. But obviously the older I get, I'm kind of like, I wonder, obviously it would have been different if I would have stayed in Morocco throughout all my teenage years. And especially with what we're going to talk about probably in a bit, like I sometimes wonder how different it would have been if I would have stayed there. Because my experience was still very rose tinting. I'm very nostalgic about my years in Morocco, and I'm like, but it's because I left when I was 10. So it's still just my childhood. But like when I went back for a reunion in 2015, I started to notice things, so for example, like, you know, men catcalling me and my friends. Yeah. I was like, I don't remember that being, do you know what I mean? Because I was like 9. But it made me, I was like, like if I would have stayed here, I would have been a different person. Do you know what I mean?
In a good way or?
Neither. It just would have been different. Some good way and bad way. But especially in terms of sexuality. UK is way more of a kind of queer space than Morocco as well. So there's that as well. But yeah, all in all, Christianity, pretty good overall. Yeah.
So, okay, so you mentioned like Morocco's, like being a Christian is illegal, right?
If you're not if you're a foreigner.
Oh,
if you're a foreigner who moves there,
I got it.
It's cool. If you're trying to if you're telling other people about Christianity.
Yeah.
And if you're a Muslim who wants to convert you,
I was like, wait a second, how did they? I thought you meant to keep it a secret.
No, I'm like, we knew like Moroccan Christians who, and they had to keep it on the down low because, you know, it's a Muslim country and like that's the law.
Do you think you'll be an artist if you stayed in Morocco, or do you think?
I mean, I've always had a pretty artsy family. Like my dad loves music. I think that's where my love for music comes from. And my mum, I guess my mum's a bit more like an artist. So I think it definitely still would have been there, like in my family as well, like in my and my mum's mum, so like my grandparents in Poland. That's a whole other thing, Poland and Catholicism. But they, my grandma was always singing. My other grandma, my dad's side in Cornwall, she's very like artsy as well. Like she paints really amazing stuff. So I think it still would have been there. But I don't know if I would have had the same kind of creative freedom necessarily, or like realised a lot of things about myself if I would have stayed. Like maybe I would have, and it would have actually been even more multicultural because I would have stayed like in Morocco. Yeah. And I would have actually learnt Arabic properly if I would have stayed. Yeah. But I don't know. That's a weird one. I actually don't know. I would hope that I would be. So our drama lessons were fun. Maybe I would have just stuck to theatre. Who knows? But there's not a lot of theatre and stuff in, like, even I don't remember ever going to the cinema.
Really?
I don't. If there is a cinema in Fez now, I'm sorry, but I don't remember ever going to the cinema. That's not the kind of. I feel like all I spent my days doing was like chilling at school, climbing mountains.
Chilling
in the Medina. Yeah.
Sounds a great childhood though.
Yeah, like it was. That's why I'm so like nostalgic about it. Cause I'm like, whoa, like it was just such a vibe. Didn't have to worry about anything apart from when we left.
So I don't want to guess. You're 20, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So throughout the past 20 years of your life, have you ever obviously came across some struggle with Christianity? Obviously, just life in general. what would you say your main struggle has been as a Christian? Like, have you ever doubted your faith?
Yes.
Same.
My whole existence is doubting my faith. And I feel really...
Even to this day?
Yeah, the last time I read the Bible was this morning. Before that, months.
Months?
Yeah, like it's actually really difficult having a regular... There's this expectation, and like I completely understand why they encourage it. Obviously, in the church, read your Bible. If you read your Bible every morning, it's starting your day off to a good. And I do agree when I read my Bible in the morning that I do feel like I have a better day. It's weird. I don't know if it's just, because I'm like, maybe because it's a form of meditation as well. Or before I go to bed, I find that I like sleep better. Because I feel more like at peace. But it's like this year's been really tough, and like I've never had a consistent relationship with my faith. Ever. Yeah. And I was talking to my Muslim friend the other day. I really admire the thing that Islam with the 5 times a day, because that actually gives you like a structure. And like I was like, I wish I had that kind of structure, because like, and also when we lived in Morocco, we'd hear the prayer call 5 times a day, and it was just like a normal. It's weird not hearing it in the UK actually, because like in Morocco, I'd wake up in the middle of the night. When I was younger, I'd be like, who's that? What is that? And my mum would be like, it's just man singing. So I'd be like, oh, cool, man singing. And then like, you don't hear it in the UK. But anyway, I keep going off on tangents, sorry.
Well, yeah, I think, what's it? You sometimes here in the UK, you have to have like a radio and all kinds of stuff. And then
really?
It's called like the Azan.
Yeah, the Azan. Yeah,
and then obviously it'll go off and you just,
yeah. But I'd say, I got baptised in 2015. Which was and I'm really glad I did. That was a really kind of positive time of my life. Right before that, I'd had kind of like a few troubles with like my friendships at school and stuff, and I was feeling kind of lonely, and that did kind of make me reach out to this God, and I really felt like I was like, actually no, like I want to get baptized. This is good, and it was a really dramatic thing. We get baptized, and it was all like, and then it was good for a bit. I was like writing my diary a lot, and then again, it just kind of like. Then you just don't one day, like it's just kind of slip. Like I'm really bad at like keeping like routines of like anything, so like reading the Bible is part of that, or like even praying regularly, like so I feel like it fluctuates a lot, feeling like really like high, like like this God loves me, like my life is great, thank you for being there for me, God, and then also really lows of like thanks God, when you're like where are you now? Like what? Where are you now? By Justin Bieber. That song's just playing in my head. I'm really sorry.
It's fine.
Where are you? Me to God. Then you have the lows as well, and especially recently, like this year, it's been so weird. And then when I started like questioning things about myself or realizing things about myself in like 2017 in terms of like sexuality. That added a whole other, that just added another kind of worry or, paranoia thing of like, because I've always got the thought of going to hell, right? As a religious person, that is terrifying. Like that is literally, and we're from a young age where, I don't know about you, but you learn about things like, this is fiery furnace and, if we don't repent, if you don't live a good life, you go to hell. Yeah,
when you get told as a kid, like, oh, if you don't listen to what we say, if you don't pray to Allah, you'll burn in hell for eternity. I was like, whoa, like slow down.
What even is that? Like, I can't even comprehend what that is. We don't. If there is a God, right, who's on like another dimension, how can we even comprehend what a heaven or a hell is? We can't.
Yeah.
We can't even comprehend that other living, that being. It's such a weird. So then to also be like, your whole life kind of subliminally, not by my parents, but in just Christian culture, I guess, the whole like, if you're gay, you're going to hell. Then when I started realizing things about myself, I was literally like, oh my God, I'm going to go to hell for liking girls as well.
Yeah.
That's literally what was going through my head, but I like didn't tell anyone. But then like in 2018 is when I actually came to terms with it, and I kind of claimed it. I don't know. I was just like, no, I am. Like, I am bisexual,
you accepted
pansexual,
yourself.
whatever. Yeah. And I was like, that's fine. And I was talking to, a variety of atheist friends who were gay, or Christian friends. I was talking to like a lot of different close friends who all have different perspectives, which I'm glad for, because it was good to be able to talk to different people about it.
Yeah.
From my different social circles, like school, theatre, church. So for the past 2 years, that's still been an ongoing kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. I think you know what
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're bisexual, right?
Yeah.
Bisexual, pansexual.
Yeah.
So does your family know about it?
Yes. Yeah.
How did you like open up?
Yeah. So.
And what was their reaction as well?
Yeah. So not gonna lie, like I said, I'm so grateful and lucky that they basically had a positive or neutral reaction, which I know not everyone has. So like which is another reason why it made me so emotional. So anyway, so the way I told them, the way I told my mum was actually really. So I'd already been talking to a couple of close friends about it, and one of them, like, he was bisexual as well. So he was telling me he was being really assuring, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I am, but I was really stressing about it because I hadn't told my family, and I was kind of like, do I need to tell them, or do I just, if I ever get a girlfriend, I'm just like, I've got a girlfriend. Sometimes I'm like, do I need to come? I don't know. And I'd been really like stressing about it. And then one day I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and I knew that it would be fine because my parents have never, like, I don't have a memory of my parents ever saying anything like homophobic or like, and I've been involved in kind of like queer spaces and had a lot of gay friends for like years. Like literally my best friend is gay, and they've always been, like, when he came out, my parents were like, tell him he's always got a safe space here. He's always got a home here. So I knew they'd be cool with it. And they are. But anyway, so we were watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and like the context of the show, like it was one of the queens was talking about his experience being gay and religious, and it was like what he was talking about was really, really like horrible. He was talking about conversion therapy, how he was put through like awful things by his family, his church and everything, and how it made him kind of turn away from God for a bit. But then he was saying about how, like, I actually forgot what queen it was, I wish I remembered, but he was saying about how, like, he still believes that there's a God that loves him, it's the humans that are doing wrong. And it was really emotional. Me and my mum were both crying. Like, I was like sobbing, because also I was like, I think my mum was just crying because she felt, sympathetic. I was crying because also like relatable, not relatable as in what he'd gone through, but like being not straight. And I kind of told my mum, I just told her then and there, I was like, Mum, like, I think I like girls as well. I don't want to go to hell. And I was like, I don't want to go to, and she was like, Jessica, no. And I've said this in another thing I did before about sexuality and stuff, but she said to me, she was like really reassuring and stuff, and like she said, I'll always remember this quote, this is what I always like come back to. She said, Jessica, your sexuality is not the most important thing in your relationship with God. And she was reiterating the thing of like, your sexuality actually, it's only one small part of this huge mosaic that makes you who you are. Do you know what I mean? It's also so you can't help. Like, it's literally, there's so many other aspects of your personality and your experience, and that, like, she was like, do you really think God is like focusing on that one thing? She's like, people gossip. She wasn't saying being gay is a sin, but for people who do think it is, she was like, people gossip, that's a sin. People judge others, that's a sin. So when you tell a Christian, oh yeah, I'm gay, and they're judging you, they are sinning. Yeah. So even if being gay is a sin, they're sinning just, there's, the whole, all sins are equal, that thing anyway. So it's kind of like, she was like, Jess, it really doesn't actually matter. Like, she said in your, because I was like, oh, what happens? I was like, if I fell in love with a woman, and I got married to a woman, would you come to the wedding? She was like, Jess, you're my daughter. Of course I would. Like, what stupid question. Which was obviously like so amazing.
You're
like,
so blessed.
I know. But I feel not sometimes guilty about it, but I know that not everyone has that experience with their close family. And but there's still that paranoia at the back of my mind of like, yeah, they'd be cool with it, they go to it, they still love and support me, but I still have this paranoia at the back of my mind that they're still gonna be thinking, or they're still gonna be praying for me that I won't have same-sex attraction. They've not said anything to make me think that, but I just know from what some Christians are like, I have this, I'm like, okay, they're gonna love and support me to my face, and then when they go to sleep, they're gonna be like, Lord, I just pray for Jess that she won't suffer from same-sex attraction anymore. I still,
you think so?
Huh?
You think it's like a paranoia type thing?
I still have it about so many people from like my old church as well. I know, because I have a boyfriend now, right? Yeah. So obviously,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. So obviously, to the Oh.
Why does that always happen? You have to do the lights up. Yeah, it's in the bottom one.
Whoa, that was dramatic. It's like, I have a boyfriend.
That is some weird timing, to be fair. It happened one time in episode 3. I was like, what the hell's going on?
What?
But yeah.
He's going to feel so special now.
Oh, fuck it, yeah. I mean, the universe. God's working in mysterious ways.
God's like, well done for not being gay.
Yeah. That was a joke. Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
On that topic, so obviously it's weird, the whole thing with bisexuality anyway, how people will kind of be like, oh, you're not bi, you're just like, it's just a phase or like da-da-da. Yeah. That's even more, because I've never been in a relationship with a girl. Like, I've only ever been in a relationship, which again, then sometimes I'm like, am I even bi? But I know I am. But, what was I going to say? Because I've got a boyfriend now. I was thinking about this recently, because I was kind of like, okay, so we're obviously straight, as in, if people saw us in the street holding hands, people would be like, that is a boyfriend and a girlfriend, right? Yeah. That is a heterosexual relationship, which I guess it is. But obviously, then someone from that wouldn't know that I'm actually bi, or and it's actually quite fluid, and I was obviously that's a form of privilege. The fact that I don't have to worry at the minute in my current relationship, I don't have to worry about being discriminated against for holding hands in the street, or I won't have to worry about the legal stuff when it comes to marriage later on, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Which it makes me. I'm like, I was thinking about this the other day. There's people from. I feel like there's Christians I know from like my past or whatever, from my old church, whatever, who perhaps if they knew about me being not straight or whatever, then finding out that I'm with a boy or a man would be like, good. Do you know what I mean? Or they'd be like, oh, she's over that. Still think maybe they thought that like, because I know obviously my gay friends or friends who aren't homophobic, they still view me as bisexual, pansexual, whatever. Not that makes your whole personality, but but I know that there's some people who like would know that, but they don't view me as a bisexual person. They would view me as a straight person who is struggling with same-sex attraction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And even that phrase, same-sex attraction, is so. I've always hated that because it kind of strips it down to kind of just a thing of like desire, just as kind of sexual thing almost. When it was completely ignoring the fact that like people of the same sex can have loving, passionate relationships. Do you know what I mean? It's so much more than that. When it was a straight couple gets married, people aren't just like, yeah, they're just doing it for the sex. Do you know what I mean? Like, but why do people think that gay people are like overly sexualized? So I can't remember what tangent that was from. I can't remember what you asked me, but
Yeah.
I genuinely can't remember what tangent that was
I took it all in.
Okay, good, yeah.
But
it's interesting.
It's because we're like, obviously you're from a Christian background and you're accepted and loved. I'm from a Muslim background and I wasn't. Because obviously you told your mum, I think I like girls as well. I can't speak to my mum at all. Like it'll be even worse if obviously I'm straight. I don't know what I said, obviously. Not like to, just clarify. Obviously I'm a straight guy, but in my culture I have to like marry Bengali woman, a Muslim woman. And thing is, if I don't, it'll be like it's like some racism involved in my culture as well. Because if I date a Caucasian woman, if I date a black woman, a Latina, whatever, anyone that's like not a Bengali, Pakistani or whatnot, I will get shamed heavily. I still get shamed to this day because I tried everything to make my culture accept me, but it clearly didn't. So obviously I went to mosque all the time, prayed, just tried to fit in, like obviously engage with the community and whatnot, obviously celebrated Eid as well. And the more I started to grow up, obviously I started to build myself and what I want in life. So obviously I want to be an artist and whatnot. I want to do all these great things. And no matter what I did, because obviously I used to be very chubby back in the day. I used to be a big boy, I used to be thick. I used to be thick, big chungus. So I used to be like the ultimate person to attack. Like if you're a bully, I'll be attacked.
Yeah.
And obviously I started to take care of myself. Just grow as a person, grow physically, mentally, all that kind of stuff. And no matter what I did, still wasn't accepted. which is crazy. So that's why I just like separate myself from the culture, brown culture, and be like, okay, this is me. You can either accept me or not. And thankfully, there are people that because the episode, what was it, episode 6?
Yeah.
Which is about brown culture. Also, I got some DMs saying, you know, thank you for speaking up about this because I'm too scared to say anything, and we need people like you to speak up. And that's why I do what I do. As I say, it gives like people a voice, like such as yourself, because I believe it's really important to express your story, but also to show people like you're not alone. It's a bit of a cliche, but people went through that. People have also been through your type of pain, and it's important to say, I've been through this type of shit as well. I'm here for you, all that kind of stuff. And getting back to the theme of Christianity and sexuality and all that kind of stuff, you mentioned your old church. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So, like again, all in all, like I know that I've had so many good experiences there, like really good, like helped me grow as a person. But it's complicated because obviously a church is made up of people. Yeah. Like it's an institution, but it's the people who make it, and people have different views and people have different ways of doing things. So again, with the things that happened, it's not like I even have one specific person to blame. I think there's so many different things to blame, like just the Christian church as a whole for hundreds of years. There's a book I'm reading at the minute called The Gay Gospels by Keith Sharp. And it's a very positive kind of affirming book for LGBT Christians, but also for anyone like interested, about how essentially the Bible, when you look at the text, doesn't have anything that actually condemns a consensual, loving relationship between a man and a man. Yeah, it's all been read. The texts have been abused for people's own homophobic, agendas, basically for hundreds and hundreds of years by the Christian church, not just Christianity, but it's so with that, that the history of the Christian church doing that, these morals kind of pass on through generations. So like it's also like I know some of the views from people in my church, like maybe they just grew up with those views, and it's kind of the thing with, because it sounds like from what I've spoken to from like my Muslim friends who are LGBT as well, is it sounds like in Islam it's a lot more overt and obvious, is the kind of homophobia. But my kind of issue with the Christian church is that it still exists, but it's kind of swept under the carpet, or it's just not discussed at all, or it's like little subtle things. So again,
very subliminal.
Yes,
say, yeah.
Which is still an issue, when all the little things build up. So again, I'm lucky that I've, I wouldn't say that I've ever overtly been discriminated against in my church, because not even everyone knows. I didn't like come out. I just kind of came out to like close friends who. And then as I got more open about it, other people knew because I didn't really care. And because also part of me was like, I want some of these people, especially like younger people, I was like, I kind of want them to know that I am. Just me, not a whole savoury thing of me existing is good for them, but like, if they were, struggling with stuff, they know that they could tell me, or they know at least someone, oh, there is a gay Christian church. You know what I mean? So for example, a kind of negative experience for me it's still, something happens, it's still so vivid in your mind, and I know I'll never forget this, which is a shame, but
it's so crystal clear, and it just
like I literally remember it like it was yesterday. But I'm not going to say like where it was. So it was in a Christian setting. I was with some of my Christian friends from my church, and we were talking about sexuality. So this was in 2017. When I was starting to kind of question things, but I wasn't really telling anyone. But obviously I'd still had gay friends for years, so like I still knew, but I wasn't like, guys, being gay. Like it was like we were talking, it was a really like in-depth discussion. And one of the youth leaders, someone I'd looked up to for years, literally since like as long as I can remember, as he's walking out the room, or where we were, he goes, oh, gay, bi, trans, none of it's real.
Just like that.
None of it's real.
Then,
we were like, here we are, like young people, right? Impressionable young people. I was 17 at the time, but some would have been younger than that. And obviously your teenage years are a tough time anyway, right? Then on top of that whole thing of sexuality, it was a really good in-depth conversation. We were really getting somewhere. I'm pretty sure there were some people there who had a bit like different views to me, but we were actually talking and like we were discussing, then for the youth leader, who's meant to help facilitate these kinds of conversations and this time in your life, they're literally a youth leader, completely dismisses the LGBT community. I actually genuinely think, because I was questioning those things when I was 17, it then took a whole year before I even started speaking to anyone about it. I think that genuinely added to the, me repressing it for even longer. So I was like, oh, it's not real actually. No, I'm just struggling with same-sex attraction. No, I'm definitely not bi. Yeah, no, I'm straight. Yeah, it's not real.
Yeah.
How could my best friend at the time still is gay, and my youth leader just said that, and I've invited that best friend to church before. How can I continue to try and invite my friends who happen to be LGBT, my atheist friends, how can I continue inviting them to a church where the youth leaders just said that? Well, the only kind of discussions we'd have about LGBT stuff, it's always the vague thing of God loves everyone. God loves all his children. God hates the sin, not the sinner. So then I'm like, okay, so you're calling me a sinner for liking girls?
It's ridiculous.
What? Even that is so patronising. Being like, I hate the sin, not the sinner. Do you think you're on a high moral high ground or something? Do you think you're more of a moral? You're a better Christian than me.
More self-righteous.
You're a better Christian than me because you're fully straight. What? I just don't. Yeah, again, I've gone on the tangent, but it's
very interesting.
It's like I said, it's the subtleties, and like I said, I'm grateful that I've not been. There was no overt. There was nothing. My church weren't like, you're bisexual, you're leaving.
Yeah.
Because I know that and some of them have said, we welcome everyone. So many churches say that we welcome everyone. I'm like, okay, you welcome everyone. Are you facilitating for everyone? Are your youth pastors trained in talking to a young person who's just experienced racism? Are they actually trained in being able to support them through that? Because if you're not training your youth leaders to support Black people, people of colour, LGBT people, people of different genders, are you really trained to be a youth leader? Because you're not facilitating. It's not intersectional. You're not facilitating for all kinds of young people. And that's kind of that's something that I've seen in Christianity a lot.
I know, well, this is probably different from you, but from my culture, there's a load of people that are really religious, pray 5 times a day, they fast, they do all these, obviously donate money to charity and all that kind of stuff, but their character is very toxic. The way they judge others, especially if you're gay and all that kind of stuff, they'll judge you for the way you dress or something ridiculous like that, how you look, how you speak, if you're not speaking your native tongue as well. So they do all these religious things, but their character, it doesn't match with those religious things. They're only doing those religious things to match, I just want to get to paradise when I die. But your character itself, it doesn't...
That would suggest to me that do they actually then have a relationship with their God? Because surely... Do you know what I mean?
It gets interesting because if they pray 5 times a day, if they do all these religious things, but they're a piece of shit, it's like...
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It really... Oh.
It's like, would they go into heaven because they did all these religious things, or will they not because of how they treat others?
Yeah.
But they'll treat others like, say if you're... say if I was one of those piece of shits, I'm not, but if I was, theoretically speaking, imaginary world, another dimension, I'm a piece of shit. I'm like one of those people. I'll be nice, but to my own kind. But I'll be awful to someone like you. Would I be in heaven, or would I? Because obviously, say in the Quran, be nice. But it never says be nice to everyone.
Yeah.
So I'll be nice to my own people, but I won't be nice to you. Which is like, would I be in heaven?
You're not loving thy neighbour. Yeah. Which obviously that's from the Bible. But I'm pretty sure Islam has things to do with being nice to strangers.
Yeah.
And guests and stuff. And or people who aren't your own, And it is weird because it's at the end of the day, if there is a heaven and hell, no one actually knows who's going to heaven. You don't know until you're there. If it does exist.
If it does
like
exist,
we said, we can't comprehend. But it's interesting, around that time I was kind of coming out to close friends from church. One of my friends, he's straight, and he's been in a relationship with a girl for a long time, right? Straight relationship, and they were at the time. And when I said, when I told him, I think I like girls as well, I'm bi. He wasn't doing. I don't think he was actually being homophobic. He was kind of being not the devil's advocate, but he was giving the kind of Christian, I
Christian
don't know,
response?
theological.
Yeah.
He was just kind of like, he was like, oh, like he wasn't saying I was going to good, but he was like, oh, but like, is that sinful? Like he was kind of like, what, you know, like what does that mean? Like, is that sinful?
Yeah.
And I was like, you've been having premarital sex with your girlfriend. Is that not sinful?
That's a sin, yeah.
And it just feels a bit like, I know he didn't mean it like that, like it's fine and it's not beef. But like, I was kind of like, it's funny that you're questioning my, you know, like repentance, whatever, my kind of sin, when you literally regularly are having premarital sex with your girlfriend.
Exactly.
Why am I not even allowed to just have same-sex thoughts?
Yeah.
But you can have sex with your girlfriend, I'll be condemned more, you know?
That's
Yours
the
is
same
more
with
of a
people I know as
forgivable-
well.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you know, you're not a real Muslim, but then they'll be having sex every time they're on a night out or something like that. I was like, wait, hold on a second, you drink alcohol as well? It's like, what?
It's like no one's perfect. Like
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, it is like at the end of the day, like I do believe there is a God that loves me, loves everyone unconditionally, no matter what. And I think I like to believe that God is up there, absolutely distraught at how humans have twisted His word or His. You know, I say His. I don't actually believe God has gender, but that's just how our language works. They whatever.
People just love to take that small, well, whether it's in the Quran, Bible, or even as a person, they take that small part of you and then they stretch it out and be like, oh, that's just you. That's the
all
bigger
you are.
picture.
Yeah.
And it's just it's disheartening, especially if it comes from your own people. But I feel like that's where we're also similar in a way, because obviously we came up from a religious background, but we're different because you accepted. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm grateful because I want to be doing this. You know, filmmaking and arts and all that kind of stuff. I would be doing it if I was accepted, because it was used as an escapism from my reality. And everything I ever saw easy.
Yeah. So would you say for you that, like, you know, not being accepted, because you said you're straight, so like for you, would you say it was more, what was it, more like the art thing, or like, you know, wanting to date or marry outside of your culture? What was it for you?
The dating outside the culture, they didn't know about that. So. No.
I mean,
no, I say it with my chest anyway. They don't really know about this, if that makes sense. I mean, some of them do, but they don't really, I don't know, we don't talk. At all. We live this is obviously my dad's house, my mom's house, I live with my grandparents, and also my youngest uncle, and we don't talk. I don't speak to my mom, or I don't speak to my dad or anything like that. I just do my own thing, and like they leave me alone, I leave them alone, and I just like, I think the last conversation I had with my dad, it was not a good conversation at all. Well, it was during Ramadan. And he was just like questioning my faith, like, you know, are you fasting and all that kind of stuff? And I said, it's none of your business because it's late. And also, we're not living together, we're not seeing each other and all kind of stuff. And the last thing I said to him was, I'm just going to be more of a success than you and the whole family will ever be. And then he just said, you'll never be a success if you don't have that relationship with God and the Imam and all kind of stuff, the Imam with you. And I said, regardless of that, I'm keeping my promise. Like that's the reason why I'm so fired up all the time. I'm doing this. It's because I got too many things to do and to prove. To especially a culture that like ostracized me, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget what they say to me. I'll never forget what they did to me. All kind of stuff. Especially with how I was raised. Obviously having a toxic older brother. My sister being very close-minded as well, because you know with my weight loss and all that kind of stuff. So the different culture, what you call it, interracial marriage. I'm gonna do it anyways. If not deliberately.
No, that's so strange.
No. If I marry a Bengali girl, I marry a Bengali girl. But when it comes to my wedding, I won't have family there. Like I'll probably it'll be me, my friends. Obviously, if her family accepts me and her friends, and that's it. I would not have my family there. I'll tell my mum like, look, I'm getting married, but if you don't show up, I don't care.
Is that the main thing that why you guys like aren't talking as much? Was that did you like say like, what if I don't want to marry her? Do you know what I mean? Like, how did that happen? Like, what would this thing cause?
I questioned it. I was like, because they just told me, you get married, obviously within your culture, get a job, get kids, die. That is literally
That just makes it sound so boring.
I mean, I asked them. I was like, "Wait, hang on." So like, that's it? I was like, "Yeah, that's it." I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
I was like,
all the other things I want to accomplish.
like, exactly.
Like, yeah.
I was like, because I told about filmmaking and whatnot. I just don't care. I don't see it as something that's real because it's very hard to get to filmmaking. And they want me to go for more traditional routes, such as lawyer, doctor, all that kind of stuff. And that's why there's not many, when you look around, how many brown filmmakers are there? Barely any. It's because they're all forced to go down that path, even if they want to be an artist as well. I'm sure there is, obviously, these days, but when you look at the mainstream, there's not many brown artists in general, musicians, filmmakers, people in the fashion industry, all that kind of stuff. So in terms of your question, like what sparked it, it was a build up of multiple things. So depression, that's one thing. I remember I opened up about depression to my mum and she just kind of scoffed it off. I'd be like, you should be a mosque, you should be doing this and that. And she didn't listen at all. My dad obviously shamed it as well, because they do depression and mental health. They don't really think it's real. They think, oh, it's like, just shrug it off. You'll be fine tomorrow. I was like, that's not how it works. Like, and I obviously, like, I kind of, I don't expect them to understand, but I just do want them to, like, kind of accept it.
Or at least try
just
to
listen. I just want to listen.
Just listen.
Because they didn't listen to me at all. So that's why I do this. That's why you see my films and it's all vulnerable and shit, because that's the only thing I got.
Yeah.
Family and all. I don't have family at all. I don't speak to family. Because the person that raised me was the people and myself. Because I didn't have anything at all. Obviously, I wasn't homeless or I wasn't broke because I was a kid. School had nothing. Mosque had nobody. Mosque was the worst. Childhood friends didn't want to speak to me anymore because I hung out with the white kids and all that kind of stuff because, well, we got raised to hate gay people and also like not hang out with the white kids or the black kids in the neighborhood. Because obviously there was white kids playing around and we just got told stay away from them. And I just got told like, look, obviously remember back in the day when people use gay as an insult? I got told like, if you want to insult someone, call them gay and all that kind of stuff. And I used it because I was 8 years old. I was 7 years old. Yeah. And also over time I was thinking to myself, wait, this doesn't make sense.
Why is it an insult?
It wasn't an insult. So I looked it up and I was like, I don't get it. I was obviously like 10, 11 years old. I was like, why do I have to say this? So I asked my childhood friends about it. And they just said, it's funny to like say that kind of stuff. I was like, and then I kind of questioned it. I kind of challenged them a bit. And I took offense to that. And obviously we part ways. I haven't spoke to them in around...
That was when you were 10?
Yeah. 10, 11, around that age. So I kind of questioned it because it just didn't make sense to me. I keep hitting this one, Michael, but it just didn't make sense to me. So it's kind of crazy because if I was that same person, not to say I was like homophobic or anything, I just got told like, just use the word gay. That's it.
It's impressive that at the age of 10 you noticed that was a bad thing. Some people, it takes them... I still know
a lifetime.
I still know people that are 22 who don't understand why you can't use the F word slur. You noticed when you were 10, so that was kind of impressive.
Know how. It's because also another thing is obviously I noticed a lot of things like I don't understand. Is heaven and hell real? Then they just kind of like looked at me like, what are you talking about? Of course it's real.
You can't question it.
Yeah, you can't question it. I was like, yeah, but like proof. I just want to see the proof. And they get so angry. I was like, I just want the proof, I don't get it. Is there a picture or something? Is it? Is it illustration?
Do you need like do we need to buy tickets?
Do you need to buy tickets?
Pre-order our space?
Do we need to get by train or plane or whatever?
Like, how do we get there?
Do we get on a bike? All that kind of stuff.
That's interesting what you said about questioning, because like I said, obviously with my actually home environment, very positive. I've always felt like I could question anything because both my parents met at Bible college. Yeah. So my mum from Poland, they both met at Bible college. So they were both like studying like theology and like the texts from the Bible. So they know their shit. Like they know. My whole life, if I had any kind of question, like what? So God, like anything, they'd always have an answer for it. Or if they didn't, they would have lots of multiple and they'd be like, make your own. And I'm so grateful for that as well, because I would not be who I am. I wouldn't be such the questioning person I am today still, because they allowed me to. But then it'd be weird. Then I'd go to church, I'd be just as inquisitive, and I wouldn't get the same feedback. I wouldn't get the same openness as I did with my parents, which I'm so grateful for. They're gonna watch this and gonna be like, "Oh, just stuff it." But
they watch your stuff as well.
I would,
man,
this is the
crazy.
thing. Like, I'm gonna send them this after, and I asked them
That's
like
crazy.
I asked them last night to like pray for me for this because I was nervous.
Really?
And
it's
like,
me. Come on.
But I was like, because I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I was like, I asked
okay.
them like, can you pray for wisdom so I say the right things and stuff. And they were like, yeah, sure, like send it to us after. This is again, this might be another podcast for another time, but I don't identify as like any like non-binary or gender fluid or anything, but I don't feel like I'm male or female, which is which is on top of that. That's something that the church they'd be like, wait.
They'll get freaked out.
Like, what do you mean by that? And it's obviously I know like I said, I'm the first female on your podcast. I'm aware of that, but I genuinely, so much of what I do, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm boy or girl. I don't feel like I'm male or female. It's a bit weird, which is like I said, like obviously like I've got a boyfriend now, so that obviously to other people looks like that's a straight relationship, very seemingly straight. But so even when I'm with him, sometimes I forget that I'm a girl. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't know what you mean, but I get where you're coming from.
Yes, this is a straight relationship. But if I don't feel like a girl, does it feel like one either?
I feel like from the surface, people are like, oh, that's a straight relationship.
That's straight.
But
which is
you two know, like, okay.
Yeah, and he knows about my stuff with gender anyway as well, so it's kind of... But that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other,
Again, I was still questioning stuff like that when I was like... the same time, I was questioning when the gay bi trans and it's real. In that, he may as well have said non-binary people aren't real as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, even then I was like, not being able to can't question things like gender either.
Yeah.
Like, or even the fact that still Christian church is a very patriarchal space. Still. Like, it's 2020. And it's like...
a load of people are still left behind.
And it's, and still, there's so many churches I see where they're like, we welcome everyone, we're very multicultural, we welcome, but then like their leadership is still very straight white male. I'm like, okay, your church is multicultural. Can your leadership please express that as well? Because what's the point of having like a multicultural church if you've also not got people in positions of leadership to reflect their church as well, their people, That's another thing as well.
So, because like, there's obviously going to be a load of people like questioning their sexuality and their mental health and whatnot. If obviously you've done a load of questioning yourself and you're a questioner, clearly, obviously like myself. What would you say to those people who are questioning their faith or questioning their mental health, like seeing if they're good enough or whatnot? What would you say?
I would say, if you're questioning your faith, that is normal and that is healthy. And don't think that just because you're questioning it, that doesn't make you any less of a religious person or less of less worthy, because it really doesn't. And it's actually healthy to think about these things.
Helps
and to
you
question
grow.
If you're especially if you're reading your Bible, whatever religious book you're reading, and you're not thinking about, you're not questioning it, that would make me worried, because that's blind faith, which is not, and so I would say, really, if you're questioning, continue to question. Find people that you can talk to about these things and question, whether they are also religious or atheist or agnostic or whatever. Have people that you are comfortable talking about these things with. If you do have family or like religious figures that you think you'd be comfortable with, then talk to them. If you don't, like I said, other people, try and pray, I guess. Like I don't do it as often as I'd like to, but also don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up about it, about not praying or not reading the Bible, because, like I said, it's normal to kind of fluctuate, and like everyone's on their own journey at the end of the day. 100%. And not, everyone's got their own spiritual or religious journey. Not everything works for everyone. And even as another, like I said, not everything works for everyone. If you've got like ADHD, one of the things with that is like not being able to focus on things or keep to a diary or a schedule or do things like that. So like it's also, you could argue that like being encouraged to do some of these religious things are kind of ableist, you could argue to a certain extent, because you're expecting people to stick to these kinds of things. So I do think, if you're struggling with your mental health and faith and stuff, remember that this is your journey and no one else can tell you what works for you. And at the end of the day, if you believe there's a God, that God knows you more than anyone on this earth, more 100%. Than even you know yourself. So nothing you could do or say or think or question about your faith will ever stop that God from loving you as well.
Beautifully said.
Was that, did I, you know, I was worried about that question.
Yeah.
Was that all right?
No, it's good. Yeah. To sum up short, basically, fuck everyone else. Do your thing.
It's like they say, like the Christians say, it's between you and the man upstairs.
But is there anything you want to like plug in, like social media wise?
Plug?
Yeah.
Oh.
Instagram, Twitter. I don't know if you have a Facebook
follow
page.
me on Instagram at Jess Rules Visuals.
She's a filmmaker as well, so check her out.
Kind of, but also follow me on Jess Rules _ because I have one for like but then I have another one. But then I have started putting my stuff on both Instagrams now.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of mixed. But I've made a couple shorts, couple music videos. So yeah.
Twitter, Facebook, or just just stick to Instagram.
Nah, yeah, just
stick to Instagram.
Oh, my YouTube is called Jess Rule. I don't know how you. Sometimes I can't find it, so.
Oh my god.
It's just. I think you'd find it. I think Jess Rule.
I'll
send you the link, and then you can
just dash it in there in the bio.
Post production. Yeah. Bio, yeah. Hit the subscribe button.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that it? Is that how you're ending it?
That's it. I don't know how to conclude.
You wanted me to plug, and then you're just going to
cut
to
end
black.
it. And I just want to say, thank you for coming on.
That
is okay. And ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed, be sure to check out any previous episodes that you haven't checked out, and also check out Miss Jess Ford as well. If you're into filmmaking, music videos, all that kind of stuff, or if you're a local musician and want your music video made, then fuck it, why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's give it a go.
Fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys until the next one. Peace.
Peace and love and kindness and happiness and joy.
Goodbye. Where did it right here?